Welcome to the Rod Kirby Show, the show and podcast that covers the ever-expanding world of film and entertainment. Today, my special guest is you. I want to talk to you about what it takes to write, direct, and produce projects full-time. If you're not a full-time filmmaker, it can be frustrating to clock into a job that doesn't fulfill your creative desires. You may feel trapped by your current career, family obligations, lack of resources, or disappointing opportunities in your area. No matter your circumstances, you can become a full-time filmmaker. You can follow your dreams and make a living creatively. However, in order to do so, you may have to exercise a bit of faith, make some sacrifices, and shift your mindset. During my interview with writer and producer Princeton James, he told an inspiring story about his decision to act, write, and produce full-time in 2016. Here's what he said about the day he decided to quit his job.
A few years ago, you decided to act and write and produce full time.
2016, yep.
2016. So Take us back to 2016.
Mm-hmm.
What was going on in your life at that point in time? And what made you decide to make that jump?
Man, I was so stressed out. I was just like, man, I don't want to. God had been telling me for like 4 or 5 months to quit your job. And I had never heard him speak to me like that. So when I realized it was getting real was when my roommate and I signed a year lease, and we received a notice in the mail just saying like your 6-month lease is about to be up. And I was like, we signed a year lease, we're paying a year price. What's up? What you talking about? Then I prayed and went to church one Sunday, and the preacher preached about operating your gift. And he said, people will suffer if you don't operate in your gift. And I was like, whoa. Yeah. So, and I quit my job that Tuesday, man. Literally that Tuesday, I quit my job.
Wow.
And I booked a building on my way out the door without a script, without a cast, without a plan, without money, anything. So it was May 24th, 2016 when I quit my job. And it was August when we did the play. So think about not having a plan, not having a script, not having a cast. At the end of May, and you're going to put up a play at the beginning of August. That was the most terrifying summer of my life. But he told me if I didn't do it, I would be miserable for the rest of my life because I didn't listen to it for that long. So I just had to jump out and do it because I was like, okay, if it fails, I can always go back to my job, but I can't. Obedience is better than sacrifice. You know what I mean? So
yes, sir.
I was obedient. We rehearsed the play. I had an amazing cast, an amazing director and mentor, Mr. Donald Gray. He really was able to get me through like a lot of what happened during that play. And
this was the Royal Family, right?
It was called the Royal Family. Yes. Shout out to the Royal Family cast. And that's still, they're my boys, man. I love them.
Yeah.
So, and then we were able to do that. And we did it for the Royal Family like 12 times in like 6 different cities in like less than a year. And it was all good. So super great. I was super grateful for that. Yeah.
By listening to his instincts and exercising his faith, Princeton was able to produce a hit stage play that performed in 6 different cities. Not only that, but that leap of faith led to gigs on NBC's Blood City Law, Netflix's Uncorked, and directing his first feature film, Killer Instincts. Now don't get me wrong, it takes a lot to quit a job, especially when you're depending on it to take care of your family. However, that was what Princeton had to do in order to start on his road to success. Everyone's path is different. You may have to continue working full-time and sacrifice a few sleepless nights in order to make it happen. This means working on scripts when your shift ends, filming projects on your day off, and doing whatever you have to do in order to keep your momentum going. Once you step out on faith and make the decision to pursue your passion full-time, you'll also have to shift your mindset. While being creative will help you become successful, thinking entrepreneurially will maintain your success. Here's Princeton again, this time outlining the initial spark for his idea to start a popular murder mystery dinner theater event.
So I had a random idea, man. I was like, I want to do a murder mystery for Halloween. And it's crazy that like my friends and actors and producers and stuff, they've been so desensitized to my wild ideas. It's just like, yeah, whatever, we're gonna try it. Right. They don't even ask me any questions anymore. At first they used to be like, what? What? Really? You sure? And then I just be like, all right, cool, we're gonna try it. So I was like, yo, what if a escape room and a dinner theater had a baby? And it was like theater and we were like invasive and it was like people, we didn't have a stage and we were a part of it with the people. And they was like, okay, cool. Let's just let me know when the rehearsal starts. So we rehearsed it, and literally, Rod, nobody understood it until the first run of the first day of the first run. I was just like, y'all, it's gonna work. I promise you. You can go get in the space. It's gonna work. I promise. And they didn't tell me until afterwards. So when we did it, I was like, oh, I understand it now. And the show was over, and I was like, I understood it before. So anyway, so it ended up being a hit. So people started calling us to do private parties. People started calling us to do team building exercises. So, and then it was it went from our crowds being 95, 98% African American, which we love. We love. We make Southern Black work. We love that. It became like 60%, 60-40. And it was a very, very diverse crowd that was interested in coming, which we love that as well. We welcome that as well. So it was just super great to be able to create something that people received on that level. I just loved it. Yeah.
By thinking entrepreneurially, Princeton was able to build on the success of his stage plays and transform an original idea into something that could sustain his initial momentum. As a writer, director, or producer, you have to think of ways to extend the value of your gifts and abilities. As a writer, you could offer script polishing, screenwriting, or coverage services. If you're an experienced filmmaker, you can freelance as an assistant director or director of photography. What about offering your expertise as a consultant or coach, helping others to reach their goals? The possibilities are endless. If you're just starting out and don't have as much experience, then now is the perfect time to learn. Build your professional network, resume, and skills by volunteering on local productions. Starting off as a runner or production assistant is a great way to learn your way to the top. If you want to be a full-time writer, filmmaker, producer, or creator, you've got to do the following. Number 1, exercise your faith. You'll never make it if you're afraid to try. Number 2, sacrifice. Stay up late working on your screenplays. Give your weekends to volunteer on someone else's set. Do whatever it takes to make your dreams come true. Number 3, think entrepreneurially. Figure out what services or products you can offer to solve someone else's problem. Doing so will position you for long-term success. Thank you for being my special guest on today's episode of The Rod Kirby Show. Help me spread the word of the show by sharing this episode. You can also support my filmmaking journey by subscribing to my newsletter. I've got a lot of cool content on the way that you don't want to miss.